Chapter 5: Relationship between Mind Consciousness, Dharmas and Buddhist Teachings. 1. An overview of mind, consciousness and Buddhist teachings. In Buddhist teachings, consciousness is another name for mind. Consciousness means the art of distinguishing, or perceiving, or recognizing, discerning, understanding, comprehending, distinction, intelligence, knowledge, learning. It is interpreted as the mind, mental discernment, perception, in contrast with the object discerned. Mind is another name for alaya vijnana. Unlike the material body, immaterial mind is invisible. We are aware of our thoughts and feelings, and so forth by direct sensation, and we infer their existence in others by analogy. The mind is the root of all dharmas. In Contemplation of the Mind Sutra, the Buddha taught, "All my tenets are based on the mind. That is the source of all dharmas." End quote. The mind has brought about the Buddhas, the heaven, or the hell. It is the main driving force that makes us happy or sorrowful, cheerful or sad, liberated or doomed. In Zen, mind means either the mind of a person, in the sense of all his powers of consciousness, mind, heart and spirit, or else absolutely reality, the mind beyond the distinction between mind and matter. It is for the sake of giving practitioners an easier understanding of mind. Buddhist teachers usually divide the mind into aspects or layers. But to Zen, mind is one great whole, without parts or divisions. The manifestating, illuminating, and non-substantial characteristics of mind exist simultaneously and constantly, inseparable and indivisible in their totality. In Buddhist teachings, outside the mind, there are no other dharmas. The word and apos, dharma and apos, is used here, in the sense of phenomenon. As a matter of fact, outside the mind, there is no other thing. Mind, Buddha, and all the living, these three are not different. The mind, the Buddha and sentient beings are not three different things. Zen practitioners should always remember that nothing exists outside the mind consciousness, since all phenomena are projections of consciousness. According to Professor Genjiro Takakusu, in The Essentials of Buddhist Philosophy, the Dharmalaksana school believes that each of the consciousness has four functional divisions of interdependent nature. The first functional division of interdependent nature is the Laksanabhaga, or the objective, or the seen portion. The objective is a shadow image of an outer object reflected on the mind face. The second functional division of interdependent nature is the Darshanabhaga. The subjective, or the seeing portion illumines, sees and experiences the outer object. The third functional division of interdependent nature is the Sakshatkari Bhaga, the self-witness, or the self-assuring portion. The self-assuring portion see and acknowledge the subjective function. That is to say, the self-assuring portion will know the subject has seen the object, or the shadow image. The fourth functional division of interdependent nature is the re-witnessing of self-witness, or the reassuring portion. The re-witnessing of the self-witness completes the mental faculty. In Buddhist cultivation, aggregate of consciousness is the most important of the aggregates, for it is the receptacle, so to speak, for all the 52 mental concomitants, or factors, since without consciousness no mental factors are available. Consciousness and the factors are interrelated, interdependent, and coexistent. Aggregate of consciousness has 6 types, and its function is varied. It has its basis and objects. All our feelings are experienced through the contact of sense faculties with the external world. 2. Summaries of the relationship between mind consciousness, dharmas and Buddhist teachings. The mind is leading all dharmas. The definition of mind varies with different people in different cultures. If you ask an ordinary Vietnamese where his mind is, and chances are he will point to his heart or chest. However, when you ask the same question of a Westerner, and he will indicate his head. According to the Buddha, mind, or heart as the seat of thought, or intelligence, or mental factors is defined as clarity and knowing. It is formless which no one can see it. However, it is our mind which has created the actions, which cause us to experience suffering, and to be born in cyclic existence, or samsara. All our physical, verbal and mental actions depend on our mind. The function of the mind is to perceive, to apprehend and to know its objects. It discerns and discriminates between forms, qualities, aspects, and so forth. The only way to reach Buddhahood is by training in the control and transformation of our mind, until we are completely free from all obscurations and defilements. In English, mind means heart, spirit, psyche, or soul. Mind with a small m means the seat of the intellect. Mind with a capital M stands for absolute reality. From the standpoint of Zen experience, mind means total awareness. In other words, just listening when hearing. When the mind is concentrated on right thoughts with right effort, and understanding the effect it can produce is immense. A mind with pure and wholesome thoughts really does lead to healthy, relaxed living. The Buddha taught, no enemy can harm one so much as one's own thoughts of craving, thoughts of hate, thoughts of jealousy, and so on. A man who does not know how to adjust his mind according to circumstances would be like a corpse in a coffin. Turn your mind to yourself, and try to find pleasure within yourself, and you will always find therein an infinite source of pleasure ready for your enjoyment. It is only when the mind is controlled and is kept to the right road of orderly progress that it becomes useful for its possessor and for society. A disorderly mind is a liability, both to its owner and to others. All the havoc in the world is created by men who have not learned the way of mind control, balance and poise. Calmness is not weakness. A calm attitude at all times shows a man of culture. It is not too difficult for a man to be calm when things are favorable, but to be calm when things are going wrong is difficult indeed. Calmness and control build up a person's strength and character. Anger is the most dangerous enemy. Mind is your best friend and worst woe. You must try to kill the passions of lust, hatred and ignorance that are latent in your mind by means of morality, concentration and wisdom. The secret of having a peaceful mind, a happy and successful living lies in doing what needs to be done now, and not worrying about the past and the future. We cannot go back into the past and reshape it, nor can we anticipate everything that may happen in the future. There is one moment of time over which we have some conscious control, and that is the present. Huikei, a scholar of some repute, complains to Bodhidharma, who is silently doing meditation, that he has no peace of mind, and asks how he can acquire it. Bodhidharma turns him away, saying that the attainment of inward peace involves long and hard disciple, and is not for the conceited and faint-hearted. Huikei, who has been standing outside in the snow for hours, implores Bodhidharma to help him. Again he is rebuffed. In desperation he cuts off his left hand and offers it to Bodhidharma. Now convinced of his sincerity and determination, Bodhidharma accepts him as a disciple. This story emphasizes the importance which Zen masters attach to the hunger for self-realization, to meditation, and to sincerity and humility, perseverance and fortitude as prerequisites to the attainment of the highest truth. He was moved by the spirit of sincerity of Huikei, so he instructed him. Meditating facing the wall is the way to obtain peace of mind. The 4 acts are the ways to behave in the world. The protection from slander and ill disposition is the way to live harmoniously with the surroundings. And detachment is the upaya to cultivate and to save sentient beings. The mind is the root of all dharmas. In Contemplation of the Mind Sutra, the Buddha taught, "All my tenets are based on the mind that is the source of all dharmas." End quote. The mind has brought about the Buddhas, the heaven or the hell. It is the main driving force that makes us happy or sorrowful, cheerful or sad, liberated or doomed. In the Dharmapada, the Buddha taught, of all dharmas, mind is the forerunner, mind is chief. We are what we think. We have become what we thought. What we are today came from our thoughts of yesterday. If we speak or act with a deluded mind, or evil thoughts, suffering or pain follows us, as the wheel follows the hoof of the draft ox. Dharmapada. 1. Of all dharmas, mind is the forerunner. Mind is chief. We are what we think. We have become what we thought. If we speak or act with a pure mind or thought, happiness and joy follows us, as our own shadow that never leaves. As rain penetrates and leaks into an ill-thatched hut, so does passion enter an untrained mind, or uncultivated mind. As rain does not penetrate a well-thatched hut, so does passion not enter a cultivated mind. The wavering and restless, or unsteady mind, difficult to guard, difficult to hold back. A wise man steadies his trembling mind and thought, as a fletcher makes straight his arrow. As a fish drawn from its watery abode, and thrown upon the dry land, our thought quivers all over in its effort to escape the realm of Mara. It is good to control the mind, which is difficult to hold in and flighty, rushing wherever it wishes. A controlled mind brings happiness. The mind is hard to perceive, extremely subtle, flits whenever it wishes. Let the wise person guard it. A guarded mind is conducive to happiness. Traveling far, wandering alone, bodiless, lying in a cave, is the mind. Those who subdue it are freed from the bonds of Mara. He whose mind is not steady, he who does not know the true law, he whose confidence wavers, the wisdom of such a person will never be perfect. He whose mind is free from lust of desires, he who is not affected by hatred, he who has renounced both good and evil. For such a vigilant one there is no fear. Whatever harm an enemy may do to an enemy, or a hater to a hater, an ill-directed mind can do one far greater harm. What neither mother, nor father, nor any other relative can do, a well-directed mind can do one far greater good. Like the earth, arhats who are balanced and well-disciplined resent not. He is like a pool without mud. No new births are in store for him. Those arhats whose mind is calm, whose speech and deed are calm, they have also obtained right knowing. They have thus become quiet men. In the past times, this mind went wandering wherever it liked, as it wished and as it pleased. But now I shall completely hold it, under control as a rider, with his hook a rutting elephant. Take delight in heedfulness. Check your mind and be on your guard. Pull yourself out of the evil path, just like the elephant draws itself out of the mud. Egolessness of phenomenal dharmas are created only by the consciousnesses, dharmanairatmya, egolessness of phenomena, or selflessness of phenomena, non-substantiality of things. Nothing has an ego, or is independent of the law of causation. Things are without independent individuality. The tenet that things have no independent reality, no reality in themselves. The idea that there is no self-substance, or Atman, constituting the individuality of each object, is insisted on by the followers of Mahayana Buddhism to be their exclusive property, not shared by the Hinayana. This idea is naturally true, as the idea of no self-substance, or dharmanairatmya, is closely connected with that of sunyata, and the latter is one of the most distinguishing marks of the Mahayana. It was natural for its scholars to give the former a prominent position in their philosophy. In the Lankavatara Sutra, the Buddha taught, when a bodhisattva Mahava recognizes that all dharmas are free from siddha, manas, manovijnana, the 5 dharmas, and the threefold svabhava, he is said to understand well the real significance of dharmanairatmya. Impersonal tone is one of the 8 chief characteristics of Satori. In Zen, perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the Zen experience is that it has no personal note in it as is observable in Christian mystic experiences. There is no reference whatever in Buddhist Satori to such personal feelings. We may say that all the terms are interpretations based on a definite system of thought, and really have nothing to do with the experience itself. In anywhere Satori has remained thoroughly impersonal, or rather highly intellectual. Not only Satori itself is such a prosaic and non-glorious event, but the occasion that inspires it also seems to be unromantic and altogether lacking in supersensuality. Satori is experienced in connection with any ordinary occurrence in one's daily life. It does not appear to be an extraordinary phenomenon as is recorded in Christian books of mysticism. Sometimes takes hold of you, or slaps you, or brings you a cup of tea, or makes some most commonplace remark, or recites some passage from a sutra, or from a book of poetry, and when your mind is ripe for its outburst, you come at once to Satori. There is no voice of the Holy Ghost, no plenitude of divine grace, no glorification of any sort. Here is nothing painted in high colors. All is gray and extremely unobtrusive and unattractive. All dharmas are created by the consciousnesses alone. The mind is the root of all dharmas. In Contemplation of the Mind Sutra, the Buddha taught, "All my tenets are based on the mind. That is the source of all dharmas." End quote. The mind has brought about the Buddhas, the heaven or the hell. It is the main driving force that makes us happy or sorrowful, cheerful or sad, liberated or doomed. Mind is another name for alaya vijnana. Unlike the material body, immaterial mind is invisible. We are aware of our thoughts and feelings, and so forth by direct sensation, and we infer their existence in others by analogy. Zen Master Sung Sein wrote, "In the whole world is a single flower." One day, as the big temple bell was being rung, the Buddha asked Ananda, end quote, "Where does the bell sound come from?" End quote, end quote, "The bell," end quote, replied Ananda. The Buddha said, end quote, "The bell? But if there were no bell stick, how would the sound appear?" End quote. Ananda hastily corrected himself. End quote, "The stick. The stick," end quote. The Buddha said, end quote, "The stick? If there were no air, how could the sound come here?" End quote. End quote, "Yes. Of course. It comes from the air." End quote. The Buddha asked, end quote, "Air? But unless you have an ear, you cannot hear the bell sound." End quote. End quote, "Yes. I need an ear to hear it. So it comes from my ear." End quote. The Buddha said, end quote, "Your ear? If you have no consciousness, how can you understand the bell sound? My consciousness makes the sound." End quote. End quote, "Your consciousness. So, Ananda, if you have no mind, how do you hear the bell sound?" End quote. End quote, "It was created by mind alone." End quote. Mind and environment are one. A prospect, region, territory, surroundings, views, circumstances, environment, area, field, sphere, environments and conditions, the sphere of mind, the sphere of form for the eye, of sound for the ear. In Zen, mind and environment are just one. According to Zen Master Kosho Uchiyama, in the opening the hand of thought, Zen is often thought to be a state of mind, in which you become with your surroundings. There is an expression which says that mind and environment are one. Enlightenment is understood as falling entranced into some rapturous state of mind, in which external phenomena become one with one and oppose as self. However, if such a state of mind were the spirit of Zen, then one would have to still one and oppose as body in order to achieve it, and never move. In order to do that, a person would have to have a considerable amount of spare time with no worries about where the next meal was coming from. What this would mean, in effect, is that Zen would have no connection with people who have to devote most of their time and energies just to making a living. Zazen as true religion can hardly be considered the hobby of rich and leisurely people. The wonderful point in Dogen Zenji and Appo's practice of Zazen is that it is religion, which must function concretely in one and Appo's as daily life. The expression, mind and environment are one is accurate, but it does not mean getting lost in a state of drunken ecstasy. Rather, it means to put all your energy into your work. Outside the mind, there is no other thing. The term outside the mind, there are no other dharmas, literally means outside the mind. There are no other dharmas. The word dharma is used here in the sense of phenomenon. As a matter of fact, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Buddha taught, outside the mind, there is no other thing. Mind, Buddha, and all the living, these three are not different. The mind, the Buddha and sentient beings are not three different things. Zen practitioners should always remember that nothing exists outside the mind consciousness, since all phenomena are projections of consciousness. In short, the theory that the only reality is mental, that of the mind. Nothing exists apart from mind. Similar to only mind, or only consciousness, in the Lankavatara Sutra. This doctrine was also based on the teaching of the Buddha in the Avatamsaka Sutra, that the three worlds exist only in mind. According to ideation theory, the outer world does not exist, but the internal mind presents appearance, as if it were an outer world. The whole world is therefore of either illusory or causal nature, and no permanent reality can be found. Unlike the material body, immaterial mind is invisible. We are aware of our thoughts and feelings, and so forth by direct sensation, and we infer their existence in others by analogy. The mind is the root of all dharmas. In Contemplation of the Mind Sutra, the Buddha taught, all my tenets are based on the mind, that is the source of all dharmas. The mind has brought about the Buddhas, the heaven, or the hell. It is the main driving force that makes us happy or sorrowful, cheerful or sad, liberated or doomed. The mind is so closely linked with the body that mental states affect the body's health and well-being. Some doctors even confirm that there is no such thing as a purely physical disease, unless these bad mental states are caused by previous evil acts, and they are unalterable. It is possible so to change them as to cause mental health and physical well-being to follow thereafter. Man's mind influences his body profoundly. If allowed to function viciously and entertain unwholesome thoughts, mind can cause disaster, can even kill a being. But it can also cure a sick body. When mind is concentrated on right thoughts with right effort and understanding, the effect it can produce is immense. A mind with pure and wholesome thoughts really does lead to a healthy and relaxed life. According to Zen Master Taisen Deshimaru, in Questions to a Zen Master, it is only your mind that suffers. If you are anxious, you suffer. But if you disconnect the roots of your anxiety, your suffering disappears. The ego suffers for itself. Without it, there would be no more suffering. According to the Buddha, in addition to the physical sufferings, there are mental sufferings, such as the suffering of separation from what is dear to us, the suffering of contact with what we despite, and the suffering of not getting what we desire. As a matter of fact, outside the mind, there is no other thing. Mind, Buddha, and all the living, these three are not different. The mind, the Buddha and sentient beings are not three different things. Zen practitioners should always remember that nothing exists outside the mind consciousness. Since all phenomena are projections of consciousness, all dharmas are manifestations of mind. Once, Manin wrote to a government official, people in all walks of life have all sorts of things to attend to. How could they have the leisure to sit silently all day In quiet contemplation, here and now there are Zen teachers who have not managed to cultivate this sitting meditation concentration. They teach deliberate seclusion and quietude, and avoiding population centers, stating that intensive meditation concentration cannot be attained in the midst of professional work, business, and labor, thus causing many students to apply their minds mistakenly. Many people who listen to this kind of talk consequently think of Zen as something that is hard to do and hard to practice. So they give up the inspiration to cultivate Zen, abandon the source and try to escape, time and time again swimming in the worldly desires. This is truly lamentable. Even if they have a deep aspiration, due to some cause in the past, they get to where they neglect their jobs and lose their social virtues for the sake of the way. As an ancient said, if people today were as eager for enlightenment as they are to embrace their lovers, then no matter how busy their professional lives might be, and no matter how luxurious their dwellings, they would not fail to attain continuous concentration leading to appearance of the great wonder, great enlightenment. Many people of both ancient and modern times have awakened to the way and seen essential nature in the midst of activity. All beings in all times and places are manifestations of one mind. When the mind is aroused, all sorts of things arise. When the mind is quiet, all things are quiet. When the one mind is unborn, all things are blameless. For this reason, even if you stay in quiet and serene places deep in the mountains and sit silently in quiet contemplation, as long as the road of the mind monkey's horse of conceptualization is not cut off, you will only be wasting time. The third patriarch of Zen said, if you try to stop movement and resort to stillness, that stopping will cause even more movement. If you try to seek true suchness by erasing random thoughts, you will belabor your vital spirit, diminish your mental energy, and make yourself sick. Not only that, you will become oblivious or distracted, and finally fall into a pit of bewilderment of Zen.